and I'd be happy to help facilitate any of that.
My inclination is to take the top three and recommend those to the Board of County Commissioners for the 20th.
Michael, when you say take the top three and recommend those to the Board of County Commissioners, are you meaning to have those three firms come in and present?
Well, at this time, they have all presented to us, and if we take those three companies, present them as our top three recommendation, and then let the board decide if they want to bring them in, I think that would be up to them.
My inclination was to have the top two firms, so I'm not opposed to having the top three firms. But having those firms actually present and present to the board. So you and I are fairly similar. Leave it up to the board whether or not they want to have those firms actually come in. Probably delays us until mid-January, I would assume, given the holidays, trying to get presentations set up. But that would be my preference, is that the board would actually hear from the top two, the top three. But I'm fine with recommending the top three firms here.
Well, and the assumption they all have local offices, if they are aware that they're going to be possibly before the board, do we have Chantel call them and say the 20th, your company's in consideration, and they may or may not be asked to present in front of the BOCC?
Does that seem workable to you, Chantel?
Sure, I can reach out to them and let them know that in case of any questions, that they'll be
Yeah,
present.
if nothing else, Q&A for the commissioners.
For the commissioners. If there's any pushback or conflict, then I can try to facilitate that. If there's a firm that says we just absolutely could not do that, I can try to reach out to them and see what a possible solution would be.
Well, I think the board would, and I know we're getting into the Christmas week, but the board could also recess that meeting, whatever their pleasure might be regarding this item. So the board would have some flexibility. So, Michael, what again is your motion? And Mr. Davidson is not going to be here today.
My understanding he's out, and his office is represented here today, but she doesn't have a vote on this.
Does she have any information to relay to this group from Miles? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the only main criteria we're concerned with is that it's a firm with a national presence, so that they have input on best practices from around the country. But other than that, I think we'll defer to what you all recommend.
And I think that would be entertained with the fact that the top two or three that go forward to the BOCC has that.
Okay, thank you for that. All right.
I'm going to move to recommend the final ranks of 1, 2, and 3, Accenture, Bridge, RM, and Ernest Young be forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners for final selection.
Which may or may not include those firms being present. Right. Okay. All right, I'll second that.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll get that agenda item on the BOCC.
And now seeing Karen, I will ask that we go back up to number 2, discussion possible action, BOCC Employee of the, Employee of the Month, December, and Employee of the Year.
It should be just the employee of the month
Oh,
because we
good.
don't have a month to do a year yet.
Whew.
I was ahead of my game, sorry.
Yeah.
My apologies for not being late as well.
Forward thinking. I like it.
We have 3 options today, option A, B, and C, and we need to select 2 of them for the December employee of the month.
I'm reviewing.
Pardon me?
I'm reviewing those.
Oh, okay.
Do you have those with you?
Yes, sir.
Did I take a quick gander? Struggling.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah, how does your department,
How is my department?
review that?
Oh.
Near miss?
Oh, that would be horrible.
Did you need to see this?
And once again, out of the 3, if 2 are selected for this month, I would not hesitate to consider the 3rd candidate for next month's Employee of the Month.
Okay.
Michael, I would go with A. Do you have one?
Make me flip the coin? Okay, hold on. All right, then I will go with C today, and then we'll go with motion for candidates A and C for December.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, KK.
Item 4, discussion possible action update was from social services. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Christy.
Morning. Let's see here. I have a list because I didn't want to forget any parts of it. We'll be talking soon with legal about some policy changes and some general eligibility framework that we would then like to bring back to you with some recommendations related to those things. And some additional recommendations as well. One thing for you to anticipate is with Westtown, as you know, we have 2 things that we do down there. One is a multitude of services with our clients there who are homeless, and the other is the pharmacy. The pharmacy is one of the things we need to make some adjustments with, and one of those relates to Medicaid expansion. So that the client base that we have served at Westtown through that pharmacy now has eligibility for coverage through Medicaid. So we'll need to make a recommendation to pull that pharmacy out of Westtown. We will still have our other services. So we still have a presence at Westtown once we do that. But the pharmacy is not going to be a necessity there as it has been in the past. Let's see. Anyway, that'll be part of the recommendations. We have others. We're thinking about adding a mobile component to our services, which gives us ability to cover various parts of the county. We're thinking about something where we could offer food, clothing, and laundry, and connect with another organization that does the same thing, only providing showers and a barber and some job search and job placement support. And then we would also be able to conduct needs assessments and assess that group for potential access to housing, which is through yet another program. So we think that would be really good. It would be really nice to be able to cover different areas of the county that we're not able to do right now. So that's a thought that we have. In addition to that, we're really interested in having, if possible, a presence down here in this building or ICB or wherever there might be available space. Just one office. There are so many situations down here. We get quite a few calls, and when we're down here, we get a lot of questions from people where they've got someone in their office that has this situation or that situation. And a lot of those things are difficult to do via telephone with the person on an ongoing basis, because we could say, well, just have them get us a call later. It'd be a lot nicer to just be able to walk them down, have a person for them to sit down with, and let us work with them there at that time. So that's something that we're interested in doing, to have a presence here. And I know we're not all the way to the location question yet, really, but I want to put this out there. We're still looking at what those possibilities might be. One that we would like to consider that we'd mentioned early on is maybe the Lincoln location. We could, there are some different ways we hope we could do that. The early discussion was building a pad site for our services, which we could do that. Or we could have our services internal there in the facility. Or a hybrid of that could be to build a much smaller pad site for only those services that the customers are walking in for, and then having the admin staff and the other services that are done more on the phone or off-site or online, email, that sort of thing. Those could be housed inside the facility, but not bringing walk-in traffic into the facility for services. Those could be done with a small pad site. So that's something I wanted to just put out there as something that we would really like to have considered. I think that's everything on my list for today. And like I said, we'll be back to you with some recommendations once we've sat down with legal with a few questions on things that we would like to do service-wise.
A couple questions on the mobile unit. So would that be something that would be announced for a certain area a couple weeks out and then arrive at a parking lot?
Exactly. It generally partners with a location, an existing location where they've got space in the parking lot and access to the water supply there. And it would be announced. It'd be announced a couple of weeks out. What it could look like is that every Tuesday we're at this location, every Wednesday at this location, and so on. I think we'll figure that out as we go and see what works best.
And that would be manned by current staffing?
That would be manned by current staffing, and also back to, let me combine this with with my mention of having coverage down here. Current staffing, we can do that with once we've got the West Town pharmacy pulled out, because that's where some of that staffing support comes from for this.
And other pharmacy location is no. Where's our other pharmacy?
At our place where we're at right now on 23rd is where our main pharmacy is.
So,
But due to the condition of our building, we're having these conversations about other possible locations for us.
so still be looking for 2 locations or just,
Just one. We would relocate from where we are to where we're going is the conversation that we've been having. Our facility has got a lot of issues, which Keith can speak to if you need him to. And I think the discussion has been around the fact that we're to a point where it makes more sense to go someplace else than try to fix where we are. And then also to give us a more accessible geographical location by doing so.
thank you.
Christy, I appreciate everyone at Social Services taking a look at some of these issues. You know, we in District 1 have long held a position that we're really not making the impact that we could have in the community. And I think what you're talking about doing would certainly be able to reach more people than we're currently. And I suppose when you're talking about eligibility issues, most of that relates to what you had talked about with the pharmacy program and the Medicaid expansion, where Medicaid is now picking up a clientele that you had previously served, but there remains a gap in people that are unable to get medications that they need.
Correct.
And so by us potentially raising the threshold, we would be able to continue or perhaps even meet a need that's going unmet today. Is that kind of where you think we might be headed?
That's correct. And even for those who do have Medicaid coverage, and this is something that we've always dealt with, there are so many. Medicaid covers a set number of prescriptions, and we've always had an issue of a lot of people have more prescriptions than that. So we are able to help out with, once they've used that number, then we're able to help them out. So that's something we'd continue to be doing as well.
I think that's exciting potential to have more of an impact. And, you know, I'm excited to hear that there is a nonprofit that is doing the showers. That's something that I've long talked about that I thought we should get involved with. And now what you're talking about as a mobile component would supplement those. Now, when we just, for lack of a better, show up where everybody else is, there wouldn't be any type of formal arrangements necessary where those other partners are, right? They're not asking us to provide funds or anything else.
No.
We would just show up, co-locate, and
Right. Yeah.
run our program.
Yeah. We would benefit them. They would benefit us, because the people that we're seeing would benefit from services that they would be pulling on site. We met Friday with the gentleman who runs that operation. They've been operating in Tulsa, and have just purchased a unit to bring here. That I don't think they have it yet, but they've made the purchase arrangements. So I think they're looking at maybe March or April, I think, to get started here.
It's exciting.
April. So
Okay.
it'd be a really good arrangement. And something that I know you've heard me say multiple times is it's rarely our goal to have one narrow interaction and leave the person in the same boat we found them in. It's always our goal to do what we can with them while we've got them and make sure that they are also accessing other services so that to the extent possible, we're increasing their ability to be self-sufficient down the road. So this would include elements of that.
Well, I appreciate y'all
Thank you.
looking to continue to make a difference and even expand the role of the county in making a difference.
Yes.
And I'm no expert in eligibility, but I sure would be happy to try to help you with that if it was needed.
We would love it. That would be very helpful.
Okay.
All right.
Motion.
And the presence for downtown, are you thinking if we just had someone borrowing a conference room from someone, or do you need more of a permanent space?
I think one small office would be suitable because we'd like to ultimately have a 5-day-a-week presence. With what we've got right now, we could manage a 3-day-a-week presence or a 5-day-a-week with limited hours. But I think consistency is going to be really important to that working well so that everybody knows where we are when we're there, as opposed to thinking, well, I think they might be here today and coming down and then nobody's there and then
Right.
ever just, so I think it would be really helpful to have a specific office. It can be very small. We don't need much. But we've just seen so many situations where people hear employees and just other people who are down here get frustrated because they've encountered somebody that they don't know how to help. They don't know what to do with. I think it would be nice for them to just be able to, let's walk down here and then they know that that person is getting some help.
Sure.
How soon, Christy, would you like to have that person down here?
If we start before we move the pharmacy out of West Town, we would be limited to either, like I said, either a 3-day-a-week or a 5 days, but with limited hours. We could do that. You have a time frame that Terry said that if we do that with the limited hours, then we could start that sometime in January, and then we could go to a more full schedule after that. And we would do whichever would be your preference as to whether we started with 3 days or 5 days with more limited hours. It's whatever. And it's one of those things, we'll try it one way and then realize, oh, this other thing would work better, and we're ready to be flexible. And this person that we have in mind is she's a service provider, but most of what she does is she's able to do online or on the phone. And we would probably have 2 or 3 people who would rotate through that. But she would be our main one.
I'm wondering, not knowing exactly what this individual would be doing, but how much of an impact might they be able to have if they were co-located in an area with, say, our court services department? Would they be able to provide some services to that population that Grant's group is serving?
I'd be happy to talk with Grant and see what we talked about trying to do something like that years ago, but it was before Grant was there. I'd like to have a conversation with Grant, and then it wouldn't preclude everybody else from being able to access that,
Right,
but might
exactly.
locate it to where the need is greater and more constant.
Yeah.
Maybe.
A benefit to both groups.
An interesting idea.
I'd like to see you have that conversation with Grant.
Mhm.
It appears that we're headed towards locking down the ICB, so I think that would free up some potential office space. Mr. Monroe is nodding his head for this individual. But that's just a conversation I'd like to see take place.
We'll do it.
You want a motion to receive? Okay, motion to receive the update.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christy.
We're on the agenda for any citizens' participation. Seeing no request, any board comments?
Nope, none, thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And then new business. Seeing none, recommend or entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yes, so moved.
And a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Have a nice day.